Hello everyone, good day. Today I'll be talking about Angus Young and his tone on the song Back in Black. For this video, I'll be using my PRS SE, Custom 22 Semi-Hollow, and my Ampero II Stomp. Before I proceed, I would like to clarify a few things. One, this video is not intended to teach you the solo of the song Back in Black. And two, this video is not exclusive for Ampero II Stomp users. I have made this video so you could see what type of effects, amp simulations, and cab emulations I'm using to somehow get close to a sound in a mixed context. Angus Young is known for his combination of a Gibson SG and Marshall stacks. Unfortunately, in my case, I don't have any Gibson guitars, and I don't have a Marshall stack. That's why I'm using this amp simulations and cab simulations to get near his sound. So let me open first my Ampero II Stomp software. I have always preferred creating patches using the PC editor for the Ampero since there's an added image of the amps and the effects that I'm using, or when I'm choosing the type of amps that I want. It makes it easier to identify what kind of amp simulation it is, what kind of effects that you are using. So for this one, I'm using a Marshall 45 jump, which is an emulation of the Marshall JTM 45. So currently, I don't have a lot of gain for this one. It's a little bit crunchy. As you can see, the treble's quite high and also the mids, and I have cut up a little of the bass. Presence is a little above 12 o'clock, and the output is somewhere 2 o'clock. So I have set this volume 1 and volume 2 controls the amount of gain that you're getting from the amp. So let's try increasing volume 2. So it's quite gainy for me and for the AC/DC sound, so I've just set it a little above 2 o'clock. And as you can see, I have added here a power amp simulation. I have tried to search on the internet what kind of power amps are included for the GTM 45, and according to it, it uses a KT66 type of power tubes. And truth be told, it also adds to the bright guitar sound that you will associate with AC/DC. So here's without the power amp simulations. So without the power amp simulations, I hear that my output sound lacks is quite thin, and it doesn't have the enough brightness. Also, using a power amp simulation on your if it's available on your multi-effects unit, it will give a louder sound due to the additional power amplification on this block. So here's with the power amp simulation. Let's try changing the power tube type. So let's try using EL84. As you can hear, the type of power tubes that you'll be using will have a drastic effect on your tone. Using the KD66 will give you a brighter and a loud. For this one, in this case, it also makes your signals a little bit louder. Next one is that I'm using a stock cab simulation. It's called the UK Vintage 412. It's based on a vintage Marshall 412 cabinet. And for the microphone simulation, I'm using the Mix 1. And based on this one, Mix 1 is a combination of the Shure SM57 and Sennheiser MD421. And currently it's set at center, volume at 12 o'clock, and the low cut and high cut is turned off. Also to note, I have added a touch of reverb, just to make my sound a little bit wider, just to capture a little space. For this one, this is just a subtle reverb called the Studio Reverb. This one is, to be honest, quite optional because I just don't like playing without reverb, and also it makes me feel that using amp simulations without a little reverb doesn't using a little reverb on amp and cab simulation makes it feel a little more real than having it without. So here's the tone when I turn off the reverb. And here's with the reverb turned on. So basically it just captures more air and more space. And then another effect that I have used, I know Angus Young doesn't use any effects pedals. He's just a straight amp kind of guy, but I've used a treble booster since, to be honest, the tone coming out from this guitar is quite dark, and to be able to capture that AC/DC sound, I need to boost a lot of treble for this one. So here's my tone without this effect. As you can hear, it's quite dark. I'm already using the bridge pickup for this one, and here's with the Range Master Tenor. So as you can hear, it's aside from adding treble to my signal, adding high end my signal, it also pushes the amp to give it a little bit more crunch. But this one is quite optional, to be honest. I've just used this one to compensate for the, as I've said, the dark tones that I'm getting out of this guitar. And last effect that I'm using is a noise gate. Basically, I'm just having a lot of noise currently here on my setup, and I have added a little touch of noise gate just to counter it. Here's the tone without the noise gate. And here's with the noise gate. Basically, so the noise kit just there to kill off a little bit of the noise that I'm hearing, and it doesn't affect much of the tone. So basically that's it. This is the patch that I was able to create in order to emulate or get close to that Back in Black sound by Angus Young. So I think this patch would be good enough to get you through a whole night of doing AC/DC cover songs. Maybe you could add a little something like a solo boost in case that you'd be needing one. To maybe a delay if you want for other songs. I think this one is a good Marshall sound for those 70s rock and roll stuff. Maybe when you try this one on your own, you might hear that it has too much top end, but try hearing it in a mixed context. I think the top end will be enough for you to achieve that bright, punchy Marshall rock and roll sound. Um, Also, in case that you don't have this kind of amp simulations, the JTM45, I have found out that the Marshall JCM emulation would be good enough as long as you don't use a lot of gain. You just keep it somewhere where you're able to have enough crunch when you try to dig in. So here's how it sounds. Let me just increase the volume, add a little presence. Yep, cut off a little bit of the bass. As a final note, these settings are just guidelines on how you could set up your own your sound to emulate AC/DC Back in Black. They're just guidelines. Also, you have to adjust also based on what guitar that you are using. As what I did, I've used a treble booster to compensate the darkness of the guitar it's giving out. Maybe you'll be using a proper SG on your end, so you might not use the treble master anymore. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and hope you like this kind of content. So if you have any suggestions on what kind of tones that I should be taking on next, feel free to comment them down in the comment section, and see you next time. Thanks.